Hello again, thanks for joining me. In today's instalment from the Rare Record Room, I shall be turning my attention to the pre-rock era American rock and roll from the mid to late 1950s, specifically Elvis Presley and some of his early LPs before 1960. Before we get into it, if you appreciate the content, then please feel free to hit the like button. If you'd like to receive notifications, then do subscribe to the channel, for which I'd be most grateful. So let's get into today's video. Ignoring repackages, Elvis made just 3 studio LPs in the 50s, so much of his output appeared as singles, later collected in compilations, but around half of all his recordings during this period were released as soundtracks to his early movies. This ratio increased in the 60s, where the vast majority of Elvis recordings were issued as soundtracks, often with the marketing gimmick of including additional tracks not featured in a particular film. Elvis had expressed a desire to follow the path of his role models, actors James Dean and Marlon Brando, the 2 rebellious young icons of 50s cinema, and Presley secured a screen test in March 1956. His first motion picture, Love Me Tender, was released on November 21st. Though he was not top billed, the film's original title, The Reno Brothers, was changed to capitalise on his latest #1 record, Love Me Tender, which sold 1 million copies, the first single to do so. To capitalise on Presley's popularity, 4 musical numbers were added to what was originally a straight acting role. The film grossed over $500,000 in its first week of release, reaching #2 at the box office. Giant, starring his hero James Dean, occupied the #1 spot. Thereafter, Presley received top billing on every film he made. The film's soundtrack appeared as an EP containing 4 songs, released in November 1956. It reached #9 on the Billboard album charts and also entered the top 40 single charts. It was simultaneously certified gold and platinum by the RCA. His second film, Lovin' You, followed in July 1957. The soundtrack, full of rocking numbers, was recorded in Hollywood in January and February. Unlike Love Me Tender, this record was a 12-track LP. Side 1 featured 7 songs heard in the film, while Side 2 comprises 5 tracks not included in the movie. 3 tracks were released as singles: the US summer #1 Teddy Bear, the British #2 single Let's Have a Party, and the powerful rocker Mean Woman Blues, reminiscent of Presley's Sun Sessions, which Roy Orbison took to #5 in 1963. In Britain, the album was initially released as an 8-track 10-inch LP, which had been a popular and cheaper format in the 50s. It was re-released in the UK in the 70s as a 12-inch LP, containing all 12 songs from the American original. In Japan, the 1957 LP sleeve featured an alternative promotional full-length colour photo of Elvis in character. Following his first 2 studio albums, the Lovin' You soundtrack became Elvis's 3rd straight #1 LP. The title track was written by Lieber and Stoller, who were then retained to write 4 of the 6 songs recorded at the sessions for Jailhouse Rock, Presley's next film, released in theatres in November 1957. The title track became one of Elvis's signature songs, recognised by the Grammy Hall of Fame, was a transatlantic #1 hit, and the 5-track Jailhouse Rock EP enjoyed a 28-week stay at #1 on the Billboard EP chart. The record was issued only in South Africa and Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, as a full 12-track 12-inch LP, which is now a rarity. This features the 5 tracks from the EP, fleshed out with Elvis's earlier Sun Studios recordings and songs not released in those countries. This 12-inch version was given an unofficial release in America in 1978. For his next film, King Creole, being his last film before entering the army and his final film of the 50s, Elvis was granted a 60-day deferment from service. Filmed between January and March 58, it was released in theatres in July. Recording sessions for the soundtrack were held in Hollywood in early 58. Lieber and Stoller provided 3 songs, including the title track, plus the memorable Moody Blues Trouble. A brief soundtrack session on February 11th marked the final occasion on which original bassist Bill Black was to perform with Presley. 2 singles were taken from the soundtrack: the Billboard #1 Hard-Headed Woman, which became the first rock and roll single to earn the RIAA designation of gold record, and King Creole, which reached #2 on the UK singles charts. In America, Don't Ask Me Why, the B-side to Hard-Headed Woman, also charted, reaching number 25. The LP was also certified gold in the US, reached number 2 on the Billboard album charts, and went one better in the UK, hitting the number 1 spot on the British album charts. In a couple of other territories, the LP was released with an alternative sleeve. In Mexico and some South American countries, the original photo was reversed and zoomed out, with Elvis now facing left. A completely different photo was selected for the 1958 Japanese LP cover. And that brings to an end my brief run-through look at Elvis's 1950s soundtracks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.